Hey guys, it's Rainee Romero with the Carolina Justice Report here for another episode, and today we are talking about Dwayne Haskins, who was the quarterback for the Steelers, who unfortunately lost his life crossing a highway. So I'm joined with attorneys Justin Lovely and Sarah Austin. We are chatting about Dwayne Haskins today, which is a terrible story, very unfortunate. So what do we know about what happened?
So apparently he was hit by a dump truck while he was on the interstate. I don't know if he was crossing the interstate or walking along the interstate. There's some words now, investigation out, that he was going to get gas for his vehicle, but then he was hit by a dump truck, and unfortunately, obviously, was
I have so many questions with this. I mean, it's so unfortunate. He was only 24 years old. He was down in South Florida doing training with the other Pittsburgh Steelers. And it's so unfortunate. You know, at first, people didn't realize he was trying to get gas. And so they were like, what the heck is he doing trying to cross this highway? And then we found out, you know, I think it was calls or text, something to his wife, or she knew that he was going to get gas. He ran out of gas. It was like 8 in the morning or something like that. And said he was going to call her back whenever he had gotten the gas and let her know everything was fine. She never got a call back, started getting worried, wanted people to check on him. Come to find out, you know, that he had gotten hit by this dump truck. And it's a really sad story because he had a little one at home, and, you know, that's going to be a whole new lifestyle for that family. But
yeah, it's
I don't know.
It's a nightmare scenario, right? Mm-hmm. So we always recommend, and this is a tip, and not to play off this story or anything, but just to tell everybody, is when you get into an accident, especially, or if you any kind of car trouble, not just an accident, car trouble, you run out of gas like that, flat tire, anything. So we tell people to always stay in the vehicle, okay? Don't get out. Your first responders will be there. There'll be safety measures that can be put into place, whether that's the officer stopping traffic or putting up cones or whatever it may be. You know, or the tow truck just taking the car away, or giving you fuel, you know, if you run out of gas. Any kind of car trouble, don't get out of the car, especially on an interstate or
That's
a main
why
road.
I keep my AAA. I call them for all that stuff. But, you know, I think sometimes as a man, you're like, I got my gas tank, I can just go get something, you know?
And I think that what Justin said is all safety tips, you know, because you don't want to get yourself hurt. It's not that someone else is going to be liable for hitting you. No, if a car hits you, they have a duty to look out for you and stop and try not to hit you, but that's not guaranteed to happen, especially on an interstate.
Right.
So it's not that. I feel like some people will be like, well, if I get hit, it's not my fault. I'm just gonna, you know, I can walk. I have a good reason to be on this road. All that is fine, and your family might get a bunch of money at the end of all of it, but it's going to cost you your life.
Right.
So stay in your car.
Well, and Sarah, you and I have kind of chatted previously about kind of like pedestrian laws and how that works. So for something like this, you know, I know when we chatted before, you were saying pedestrians feel sometimes that they have to have a crosswalk, otherwise it's their fault. And you were telling me that that's not the case. If you're a pedestrian and you're hit, it's always going to be the driver's fault. Is that still apply for something like this?
Well, I don't know what the laws are in South Florida, but we have good case law in South Carolina that says there doesn't have to be a crosswalk. The driver always has a duty to see and to look out, and not to compare people to animals, but, you know, if you hit a deer and you call your insurance company, they're going to tell you, you should have been looking out for that deer and you shouldn't have hit it. It's your fault.
Interesting.
You know, we're either not going to pay it or you have the collision insurance, we will pay it. It should be the same for a person, right? You should be looking out because you're the one driving the car and you've got the brakes and you can stop for that person. That's not always the case, and that's not the law, because I guess people have the choice to walk in the road or not. So when I heard this, I wasn't immediately thinking, you know, why was he in the roadway? I was just thinking, you know, why didn't the dump truck see him?
Right. Well, and I'm curious about that too. You know, was this kind of, because it could have still been, you know, Dwayne not being as careful or the dump truck not being as careful, you know?
Right.
I mean, how much space was there and how fast were they going? You know, these are kind of questions that I don't really know about this case, but just kind of interesting about the pedestrian thing. And then what about this being a dump truck? Do we know if this was like a company? I assume it was like a company dump truck, which has a whole different set of rules than just a normal person driving their personal vehicle, right?
Right. So the good news is, if it was a commercial vehicle, at least, and the dump truck was at fault, you know, there's going to be more than just the minimums. And I think in Florida, there's only it's $15,000. It's even worse than it is in South Carolina. South Carolina's only $25,000 all they got to keep. But because it was a commercial vehicle, the federal laws kick in. They have to have at least $750,000.
Oh, wow.
So of course that's nothing to him. He had a NFL career that was going to pay him millions for the rest of his life, and it's sad for the family.
Yeah.
But there would still be some sort of recovery. To hit on Sarah's point, that dump truck driver has to keep a proper lookout for a pedestrian, even though it was an interstate. It doesn't matter. And I think that's true even in Florida.
Right.
So I think there'll still be a claim there. I think the issue is going to be, was he crossing the interstate? Was he walking along the interstate?
Yeah.
And who really knows at this time?
I think I read that he was crossing, but I know that there's been some confusion about exactly what he was doing and where he was going and all that stuff.
Yeah.
What I read was that he was crossing oncoming traffic. But again, it's just some of the details are kind of fuzzy with it.
Yeah. And in this case, you'll have to get accident reconstructionists. I'm sure the Highway Patrol, the Florida Highway Patrol's got, we call it the MATE team here, which does if there's any kind of death or anything like that, it's a specialized team of the Highway Patrol that gets together and does a report. Those reports take like 90 days to get done.
Yeah.
So I'm sure Florida's version of our DMV MATE team is getting involved in this, and I'm sure their report will come out soon. Because right now we're hearing all these little speculation, little tidbits. We don't really know the whole story, but they'll probably figure it all out. They'll look at skid marks. They'll look at any videos that were out. There's probably cameras from the Florida DMV, and they'll put pieces together, have their accident reconstructionists kind of figure it out, and then we'll get a full picture of it.
Yeah, and going back to your kind of initial point of, if this happens, stay in your car for safety reasons, I feel like that's even more for this story, because with interstates you're dealing with high speeds. And how many times have we seen like police officers pull cars over on the interstate and they still get hit as vehicles that are pulled off on the side of the road because people are just in the zone on interstates of just driving high speed and not seeing it. So definitely, if you're a pedestrian, you want to stay in your car.
Well, they take. And we see this with motorcycle cases, right? Because people aren't trained to see that. You get the highway hypnosis, like you're explaining.
Right.
Your mind sees big rigs and they see cars. They don't see pedestrians or motorcycles, things like that.
Yeah.
And that's why we see these types of accidents.
Right. And Justin, I know that when you heard about this story, you also started thinking about traumatic brain injury type of cases. What about that kind of aligned with you?
Well, it's just like what we see with our motorcycle docket. We see, they'll get hit. It's just like any pedestrian case. If it's not fatal, you're going to have some sort of brain injury, because think about it. It's you versus the pavement.
Right.
They're not good.
Yeah.
And so as part of our practice, if something like this came into the door, assuming, you survive, we definitely do a traumatic brain injury workup and cross all the T's, dot all the I's, and make sure we're able to, fully diagnose your issues that may not show up until several months or maybe even a year down the road post-accident.
Yeah.
And those are the kind of issues that we would spot and kind of help our clients with if they were in the same kind of shoes.
Sure. And those of you who may not know Dwayne Haskins, he was very well known with Ohio State football, and then I think he was with Washington right before he was with the Steelers. So I think he was really well known. We have a lot of Ohio folks that moved to Myrtle Beach, so I think they were really drawn to this story specifically for him as well. But still very young, had
It's a
a
sad
very
story. It's a
long
nightmare.
life.
I'm very talented.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep. So what are we kind of waiting to hear about this story? How do we think this is going to go? How would you work this?
I guess we're going to wait and see what that report says. I don't know if his family has already lawyered up. I bet they probably have.
Right.
And they're going to wait on that report. See, are they going to go after the dump truck? Is there some other factor that we don't even know about yet that's still going to throw a wild card?
Should the road have been more well lit and all that kind of stuff?
Right.
Because you don't want
it
this
was
to
8
happen
a.m.
again.
though, so it was kind of daytime, daylight. Yeah.
Yep, there could be a road design problem though too.
Yeah.
we see that.
Okay.
Nobody knows at this point.
So there's lots of factors
it's
that
all
play a
speculation,
part in this.
But I'm sure if his team, if his family and his team have started the legal process, they're digging in.
Yeah.
Especially all those guys down in South Florida, all the colleagues that I know down there, they know how to work these cases, and I'm sure he'll be taken care of, or his estate will be taken care of.
As somebody who does not have a background in legal knowledge, is this worked as a pedestrian case? Is this worked as a commercial vehicle case? Is it kind of all in one, or how does that go?
It's a commercial vehicle case involving a pedestrian.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they're put together. It's
Right.
not separately.
Right, and so
Okay.
you would look into it. You'll get the report. You probably hire our own accident reconstructionist. We'll kind of see, was speed a factor? Was the dump truck driver drunk? Was he past his hours of service because it was a commercial vehicle?
It's true.
Was he
Okay.
tired? Who knows?
Sure.
Was there some kind of defect with the dump truck itself that hit him? Maybe he ran off the road. Or was it just a classic he was driving too fast and didn't keep a proper lookout and hit him. Is it that clean? I mean, you never really know. Does this driver have a history? Should he even had a CDL? I mean, all those things we look at, and because truck cases are very different than a car wreck. We're going to dig in, see what federal regulations were violated, and then, obviously help our clients in this case and try to get the best recovery we can.
Fascinating. It's really cool, like, hearing you guys give that side of the perspective, because, of course, for folks that aren't, we don't have the legal background, it's interesting to hear how it would be worked. So lots of factors as always. Thank you both for chatting about this.
Anytime.
We will keep you guys updated on this story as it unfolds. Even if we don't do another episode on it, you can go to our YouTube channel and we'll put some tidbits about how the case is going in the comments so you guys can keep updated on it. Thanks so much for watching the Carolina Justice Report today. You can go to YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, our website, justiceslovely.com to learn more. We'd love to hear from you. We'll see you next time, Tuesday at 2 p.m.
When life gets ugly, justice is lovely. The love